Welcome to this episode of What's Crap on WhatsApp, the voice note show that investigates the crap shared in your WhatsApp groups. I'm Andisua May from podcasting company Volume.
And I'm Taryn Curry from Africa Check, the continent's leading fact-checking organization. Today we've got a special episode coming your way. We're taking a deep dive into the post-election information environment in South Africa.
We'll revisit a few of the most pervasive myths, discuss the harmful effects of election misinformation, and give tips to avoid it.
And after historical election results, we'll explain what's next for South Africa. Stay tuned.
We debunked several claims during South Africa's election period, but some were more pervasive than others. Remember the claim that you need to bring your own black pen to the voting booth because the ink in the pens provided by the Independent Electoral Commission, or IEC, would evaporate.
Yes, a large number of subscribers sent us versions of this claim. One message said that only pencils would be provided so that your vote could be erased afterwards. These claims were completely crap. Working pens were provided by the IEC.
This was one of several claims that seemed to question the integrity and independence of the IEC. Remember the claim that if you don't vote at all, then your vote automatically goes to the currently ruling party. We see it every time there is an election.
That one has been around since 2014. Definitely a zombie claim that refuses to die. The IEC has said on several occasions that only valid votes are counted.
But there seems to be a bit of concern around the counting of ballots in general. Before the election, we saw several claims about destroyed ballot boxes or ballot boxes found pre-filled with votes for the African National Congress, or ANC.
These continued even after the election. A number of videos and images claimed to show ballot box stuffing or hidden uncounted votes.
The IEC dispelled all of these claims. Much of what was shared as evidence of vote rigging was simply visuals taken out of context.
Despite this, the electoral fraud narrative is alive and kicking. More recently, Africa Check debunked the claim that an IEC commissioner was arrested for blowing the whistle on vote rigging, but she was actually arrested for decade-old charity fraud.
As the dust settles on the election, subscribers still need to be vigilant about such claims. So, Taryn, some of these false claims seem innocent enough, but there's actually real potential for harm when it comes to election disinformation, right?
That's right. There are some immediate consequences. For example, people might be confused about the process on voting day, or could even decide not to vote at all.
False claims of electoral fraud are particularly harmful. When election management bodies are portrayed as corrupt or unreliable, it undermines their credibility and erodes public confidence.
Several experts we spoke to drew parallels between the post-election environment and the past unrest, like the July 2021 protests in KwaZulu-Natal. Socioeconomic disparities add fuel to the fire, creating fertile ground for violence.
But beyond violence, there are other less obvious effects of false information shared during an election. Research shows that information that suggests voters have no chance to influence the outcome of an election, either because the result is already certain or is rigged, has the potential to affect voter turnout in ways that may affect the election's outcome and the acceptance of the results.
Yikes, this is problematic in a country that already suffers from low voter turnout. In 2014, 73% of eligible voters turned up at the polls. This figure fell to 66% in 2019 and 58% in 2024.
False information can also affect social behavior and attitudes over time. It can make people apathetic towards the political system, dissuading them from being active in their democracy. As one expert said, we are in a fragile moment. In such a situation, how can our subscribers play their part in curbing the spread of election misinformation?
Well, a good place to start is checking where the information comes from. If a claim is doing the rounds on social media, including WhatsApp, without a source, be wary.
Before sharing the information, cross-reference it by checking out what official sources have to say. The IEC regularly debunks false claims on its social media pages. Of course, Africa Check's website is also a great resource.
That's right. And if the information hasn't been reported on by several reputable sources, that's a sign to wait for confirmation.
It's also good to wait for confirmation if the information causes an emotional response or includes a call to action.
Sometimes a claim is partially true, but it lacks context. So it's important to get the full story before sharing something that could be inflammatory or sensationalist.
That's a good point. Many of the images and videos we saw were real, but the message attached was either misleading or outright false.
Exactly. Lastly, when you're considering all these points, also think about why the information is being shared. Is it to inform, or are there ulterior motives?
South Africa's 2024 election results were historical. For the first time since 1994, the ANC failed to secure a majority of the votes. President Cyril Ramaphosa has invited opposition political parties to form a government of national unity, or GNU. I feel like this word has dominated public debate in the last few weeks, but what exactly is a GNU and how will it work?
Well, the idea is for representatives from various political parties to work together to build a sense of national solidarity. Instead of a coalition between one or two major parties, a GNU includes a larger group of partners that are given a share in governing the country. Parties are free to decide whether or not to participate.
And there are no rules set on how to form such a government, right?
That's correct. After several weeks of intense negotiations, 11 political parties have signed a statement of intent to work together. They are the African National Congress, Democratic Alliance, Patriotic Alliance, Inkatha Freedom Party, Good Party, Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania, Freedom Front Plus, United Democratic Movement, Al-Jama'ah, Rise Mzansi, and the United Africans Transformation.
Of these, 7 are represented in the National Executive or Cabinet. That's a lot of parties in government.
It is, and there are pros and cons to this. On the one hand, more voices are heard. This can help build social cohesion and deepen democracy. On the other hand, having many parties with conflicting policy positions could lead to political instability.
As we navigate this uncharted territory, it's important to follow credible sources to stay informed.
That's all the time we have for today. Now you know what's crap and what's not.
Your friends and family can sign up for our show over WhatsApp. The number is 082 709 3527. Make sure to save us as a contact in your phone and send us a message.
You can find the show wherever you get your podcasts, from Apple to Spotify. If you listen there, you'll find show notes and a link to the fact checks.
Remember that you can send us a WhatsApp message, a picture, video, link, or voice note that you need fact checked. Just forward them to us on WhatsApp. Our theme song is composed by John Bartman. I'm Andisueme.
And I'm Taryn Corey. Bye for now.
Volume.